I'm Hailey Austin, and I'm a writer for Commando. Let's see, I'm going to go through some of the questions here. Hopefully you don't hear the clicking of my mouse too much. I'll do my best to look in the camera and not fidget. Okay. When did you first start reading Commando? I first started reading Commando about a year before I started writing them. When I came to the UK, I didn't know a lot about UK comics, and I got introduced to them through the Beano and the Dandy. But so that was kind of my introduction to DC Thompson. And then it was only until I started, I'd heard of war comics that they had done, but it wasn't until I started meeting people who worked at DC Thompson, like Georgia, who's the editor at Commando. It wasn't until then that I knew really what Commando was and started reading them. So yeah, it was really through the Dundee grapevine that I started reading Commandos. The first issue that I read is Nightmare, number 2768. Ooh, let's see if you can see that. Oh, 2768, Nightmare. I have a few props, so it's just so that you can see. Yeah, Nightmare, number 2768. So it is an older Commando set in the future where they battle in like VR stuff and there's aliens, and it is pretty crazy. My favorite issue of Commando is Commandos versus Zombies. Prop number 2, see if it will recognize zombies. Ooh, yeah, Commando versus Zombies. I love it, honestly. I love horror, I love a full page spread, I love full bleeds. It's edge of your seat, it's completely new, it's fantastic. I absolutely love Commandos versus Zombies, and it is the one that I hope would be turned into a film someday. I think it is gasping to be turned into a film. What is it about Commando that you love? I love finding out new bits of history, so things that we aren't taught in school, and bringing them to life on the page. And then I also love when readers interact with that, when it's something that they maybe didn't know about or love telling other people about. Mine has mostly been finding women involved in different bits, or finding people of color or people you didn't expect to be or don't often see as the hero. That's what I love about Commando. So for me, what makes a great issue of Commando is some kind of twist on a real event, but twisted either a little into the unreal, into the supernatural, like Commando versus Zombies, or something that sheds new light on an older event, something new that hasn't been explored before. My favorite cover of all time is number 5313, Iron Resistance. So that is one that Neil Roberts did this cover for me, and I love it. It is Commando Iron Resistance number 5313. Neil Roberts did the cover of that Commando for me, and I love it. There's nothing cooler than girls and guns and looking that cool in that color palette, so I love it. Favorite issue I've worked on is one that hasn't come out yet. It's coming out soon. It's about mules. Yeah, I wish I could talk more about it, but it's the favorite one. It's my favorite one that I've ever written. It flowed out of me, and it all just came together and was really exciting and had a lot of different things to say. So I loved that. But the other one that has come out that I really liked was number 5389, Code Drop. It's my Ian Candy cover. And it was one that started out not great. It's about knitting, and it started out with only knitting and not a lot of action. And Kate and the other editors came back and said that it needed a bit more. And so I researched more and found out about different water landings in Madagascar. And then I had the idea of these two siblings that are at war with each other, but are also fighting in the war together, and how their stories could go apart but come together. So that was really exciting. And just a lesson in listen to your editors. Listen to your editors, kids. They know what's up. They can push you to make a better story. I don't have any family connections with Commando, and honestly, I still don't think my family quite understand what I'm doing in comics, let alone like UK war comics. So that's a bit too much. One of my other favorite Commandos is called Medal for a Mule. It's number 1451. It's actually been reprinted quite a few times, but I adore it. Get ready for some more mules. Yeah. The back reading Equus asinus, that's the proper Latin name for the weirdest weapon used by the Allies in the Second World War. And yeah, I love it. It's a fun story. My favorite subject is land. It's really all I've written. I think I've gotten a little bit of sea in there, but it's mostly been land. I don't know, maybe I feel safer on the land. Yeah, mostly land. My aircraft I prefer is a classic Ian Kennedy Spitfire. It just looks nice. That to me is like classic Commando. In the next 60 years, I'd like Commando to do more graphic novels. I think it's amazing what you can get done in 60 pages with almost 2 panels a page, but I'd love to see longer form, proper graphic novels coming out of Commando. I'd love to have more female artists, and I'd love a title with all women. So a woman writer, a woman cover artist, and a woman artist. I think that would be amazing. Yeah. 5 words to describe Commando: exciting UK war comics. That's how I sell it to my parents. What would you tell someone who's never read Commando? Get to it. They're collected stories. It's one story. You don't need to wait for another issue. You've got the full story there, and nowhere else are you going to get 64 pages for under £3. It's just true, and it's maths. If there was a Commando about me, the title would be Hailey Steele, and that's because originally that is what DC Thompson put as my pseudonym as a writer, but it was really that I was Hailey Austin writing Steel Inferno, but Hailey Steele is just too cool of a name. The subtitle would be An American Abroad, and it would be about me as a spy, but falling in love with Scotland and the people and all this stuff. So yeah, I love spies. That's probably my favorite bit. So when it comes to Navy, Army, or Air Force, my favorite is definitely the SOE. Love me some spies. And my favorite theater of war tends to be places that I haven't really haven't been explored that much, or I haven't explored. So Madagascar, Norway, yeah, places that you don't normally think of as being part of the theater of these different wars. My agent code name would probably be Tex, right? Hailey Austin, Austin, Texas. Tex works. I'm not from Texas, but I'll take it. And yeah, for the last question, my dream cast for the Commando would, well, it's not my dream cast. I think Commandos vs. Zombies is screaming to be made into a film or an animation. I think that would be amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much.